Hey guys, welcome to a brand new video. This is just a quick video to tell you guys that there is some gameplay out there for Snooker 19. I've recorded it from the live stream at EGX Resd, and I'm just going to give you my initial thoughts on it. Now, it looks pretty good. It definitely does probably need a little work, but I don't want to talk too negatively about it. I think it's a brilliant start, and you know, I think that the developers will be very proud of what they've created, and you know, there's a few things that we did get to look at. So for the first time we actually got direct footage of the game, which is something that we haven't had up to this point. You know, we've got ideas about camera angles, and you know, we even got little bits of commentary, a little bit of the referee as well, Brendan Moore, who has voiced the game, obviously. So basically it was Ronnie O'Sullivan versus Mark Selby. I'm sort of in two minds whether to put the gameplay here or at the end of the video, because it is 20 minutes long at the end of the day. So I'll just give you a quick run over, then we'll play the gameplay after. I'll maybe splice it over the top of this. So we obviously had the break off initially from the guy, and you know, it looks pretty good. It looks like there's three phases of the camera angle, which is what he went on to say anyway. You know, we've got the original TV camera view, that sort of pans over the commentary box view, then you press A or X, and then it takes you to the action cam, and then you pull back on the stick and move forward to your power. It seems like the controls are going to be pretty much the same as olden day snooker games in terms of where you move the, well, not where you move the power up, but sort of where you hold L2 to slow things down a little bit. Not sure how you put spin on and things like that, whether that's going to be an R1 and L1 job, not entirely sure. But yeah, we also got a look at the menus for the first time, which was pretty cool. The menus look particularly good. I'm just trying to skip through the video to it now, but you can see there's a match results screen where it's got the highest break in there, the number of frames played, obviously, the total points for the winner, and the total match points, which is cool. And then there's a little bit there which I'll stop on, and you can see there's Marco Fu on the quick match icon. Not entirely sure why, but it's a good image nonetheless. We've got online versus, and we've got online tournament as well. And along the top you can see play now, career, records, and settings. So we'll have a little look at that. And if you go into a quick match, then you've got match settings from here. So there's three types of snooker. There's no pool on this from what we can gather. Three types of snooker. So we've got normal snooker, 6-red snooker, and power snooker. Well, it's not power snooker, shootout snooker. You can change the match length, so anywhere up to 35 frames, and change the arena as well. Very seamless. I really like that as a thing. And they flicked through quickly a few of the arenas that are in the game, which is good. And then he chose the Crucible for the next match. Now there's the player settings as well. So we've got at the top there, you can select your player. So he's picked Ronnie. It's got the number of century breaks and stuff like that, and the number of ranking titles, which is cool. Very up to date as well, because Ronnie only won his 36th ranking title on Sunday. So great to see that's on there. Or last Sunday, I think it was. And then you've got player 2, Mark Selby. So you've got the difficulty of the AI. So you've got hard, which is ranks 1 to 20, and then I guess medium, which is going to be 21 to 60, and then easy, which is below that, which is fair enough, you know. I just hope that within that there's individuality in the players as well. You can also see that there is the aim and aid bit underneath the Ronnie O'Sullivan. Now there is Pro, Master, and Amateur. So that is where the difficulty settings come into it. We talked a little bit about it in the in the video yesterday where we were talking about the release date. So we thought maybe it's AI difficulty. No, it's aim and aid difficulty. So you've got Master, which is basically the shortest aim and aid. You don't get any sort of positional aid on that as well. You get the shortest power window and a bit of a fan effect as you turn. You'll see on the gameplay video as if it's a straight pot, then the aim and aid will be longer. If it's a cutback, then you'll just get a cone as the aim and aid, which I'm not sure how I feel about that, but we'll see. And then obviously amateur, those effects are reduced drastically. You have a positional aid as well, and pro is going to be somewhere in the middle. There is also the option of having no aim and aid as well for you hardcore folks out there. I'll probably play on pro to start with, then move to master as we go on. Maybe even start with master. I'm not entirely sure. So that's the menus. There's a nice little sort of presentation of the table. Doesn't seem to be any sort of player introductions, which is a bit disappointing. I'd love to have some player introductions. One thing I did pick up on is when the ball's near the cushion, Mark Selby especially used the sort of looped bridge where the cue goes sort of through the index finger. Big snooker fans are likely to notice that. I'll try and sort of screen grab that while we're on it as well. But the gameplay looks solid. There's things to work on. Obviously, I think the commentary was pretty weak where it was heard. But what can you do? That's all recorded now. At least we've got some commentary in the game. Visually the game looks good. I know a lot of people will complain, especially about the play animations aren't brilliant. Sort of the hairstyles are pretty generic to say the least, considering they've done 3D mocap of them. But the physics of the game looks pretty good, and it looks fairly challenging, and definitely very, very good that we've got a new snooker game on the horizon. So that is pretty much it for the gameplay. Never got in any sort of career mode, which is a little bit disappointing, I guess. But I'll put it at the end of this video now for you guys to have a look. It's about 17 minutes long, so have a little look. It's a nice little interview with the developer of the game. Unfortunately, the guy that's playing it doesn't seem to be interested in snooker and doesn't really know a lot about it, so didn't really ask the questions that maybe I would have. But hey ho, that's one of the things that you get with these big interviews. So I'm going to put it on there now. If you have enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like down below. Let me know down in the comments what you think of this first gameplay. And less than 2 weeks now until we get our hands on the game, and hopefully you will enjoy it when we do get to play it. Subscribe to the channel for daily snooker content, and I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.
Hello and welcome to the Rock Paper Shotgun. This is the RPS sessions live from EGX Res 2019. I'm Matthew, one of the Rock Paper Shotgun video department. The idea of the RPS sessions is to give you a window into Res and let you see some of the exciting demos from the show floor. And as you can see from this footage, we are in the exciting world of Snooker 19, and I am joined by Simon from Lab 42. Hello, Simon.
Hi, great to meet you.
How you doing?
Good to be here showing you snooker today.
Great. How has Res been for you so far?
Having a lot of fun here. It's nice and chilled, and the interviews have been great in general. People have really enjoyed the game, and that's what it's all about, really.
Awesome. So let's dive right in. Tell me about Snooker 19.
So Snooker 19, we decided to make a snooker game because nobody's been making officially licensed snooker games for 9 years now, I think it is, since the last one came out. Myself and Justin Forrest, who's the lead designer on the title, we both worked on snooker games back in 2003, 2004, 5, 6, with Codemasters and Blade Interactive for a series of officially licensed snooker games back then. So we kind of knew how to make snooker games. We knew what the market was for snooker games, that people were excited about this. And we knew, most importantly, I think, how to innovate and make the best snooker games from all that experience that we've gained. So now was really the right time. Snooker's blown up huge in China. It's the third most popular sport out there.
Really?
The snooker clubs on almost every block nowadays. It's insane. I went into the Chinese restaurant down the road from me the other week, and I was carrying my snooker cue because me and my designer play a lot of real snooker as well nowadays. And all of the Chinese staff were like, "Oh, you play snooker? Who's your favorite player?" And all of this stuff.
Really?
It's really huge out there.
Is it the same players that are big here, big around the world?
They are big, but also the Chinese players have really broken through into the top 128 over the last few years.
Yeah.
I think about almost a quarter of the top 128 is now Chinese players. So yeah, they've been really coming through, and it's pushed in a big way out there nowadays.
Oh, it makes sense to be making a snooker game then.
Indeed. Shall I make a break?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So in snooker, we've gone for a very, very televisual style, and you can see that in the way we're positioning our cameras and everything else. That's really come from our relationship with World Snooker, the license that we have. They provide us things like the computer-aided designs for the stadiums with all of the camera positions and all of that kind of cool stuff. So we were able to make the most authentic snooker experience to date. Of course, we've got all of the top 128 players. We've got 28 venues. We've got a full career mode and all of that stuff. Right now, I'm playing against myself. In a minute or two, I'm going to restart, and I'm going to join in and get you to play.
Oh, God.
But before we do that and give it a go, I'm just going to show a few shots and a little bit of snooker. You can hear we've got...
He's missed the pot.
That was a very nearly a clever trick shot, but it wasn't. So snooker's a hard game. What I find really... What I love about snooker and making snooker games is that when I go to the snooker club, I'm terrible. Like, my highest break is 28. But I feel like I should be so good. And it's the same if you play FIFA. You don't want to feel like you're down the park getting out of breath and missing every shot. You want to feel like Lionel Messi when you're playing FIFA.
Yeah, I've always found, like, I get the idea of, like, snooker and pool and, what, like, the angles. I know, like, how it's meant to work. But I can't always necessarily execute it.
Exactly, and that's what we're trying to allow people to do in snooker. And what hopefully I'm going to be able to do with you in a couple of minutes, what we'll be doing is setting it up so that with a basic handicap so that we can play against each other.
You won't be too happy with this position here.
With you playing in the most easy way with nice big aiming aids and lots of assistance.
Sounds good.
And I'll be playing on the hardest possible way.
So you've got... So
it's half a chance,
the official
but chance nonetheless.
What does that sort of entail in terms of access to the players? And
so
not
we
quite.
wanted all of the players. We're a small studio,
sauce.
And to model all 128 players by hand would have been a huge amount of work and effort. So our art pipeline, instead, we wanted to 3D capture all the players. So we took out... World Snooker were really supportive of this. We took out to two of the official snooker events, one in Guildford, I can't remember where the other one was, I think it was in Coventry actually. We took out these 3D capture rigs, huge 80 camera systems that can scan the entire face of the player and body of the player all in one go, very quickly and easily.
He's attempting the plant, I think.
Snooker were really supportive of this. We did have a few niggly problems, like in your studio here, a capture rig of that kind of thing, it has a lot of lights pointing at them.
Yeah.
And the first player we tried to capture, I can't remember who it was, but we had him in the rig just before he was due to go on for his match and pressed the button, and he was almost blinded, the poor guy, right before his snooker match. After we did that, after that first one, of course, we switched to only taking them after they've finished their match.
Very good.
On the other hand, that meant that I had a young kid who was trying to qualify and had lost, almost crying when he was sat in the chair. But
so we've got to look out for a
get it both
sad,
ways.
sad player.
Indeed. So yes, we've been developing this for 14 months now, roughly. Had a lot of fun playing the game, working on it. We've got as well as the players. Snooker gave us They wanted to support us in making it as authentic as possible. And that really, for me, it comes from having the right table, the right balls, the right physics, and all of that stuff. So we initially, we asked for a sample of the bays and some CAD on what the table looks like. They wanted to send us an entire table, but we don't really have room for that. So we said instead, can we get a pocket, like the stuff that's all used to make up the pocket? They sent us 6 pockets for some reason. I don't know why, because if you look, a corner pocket and a middle pocket, that's all there is. The 4 corner pockets are all the same. But anyway, they send us all the
They'll send you the other bits, and you can gradually build.
We can build our own table. They sent us an entire felt as well. So yes. They've really helped us bring this authenticity to the game.
And I'm interested, considering the time gap since you last worked on this kind of game, what has changed, like tech-wise, in terms of making these games, like that you're capable of now that you wouldn't have been before?
Well, it's a huge advantage where we are now. We're working in Unreal Engine, and that provides the beautiful graphics and everything else that you can see here. It provides a lot of the stuff that you see going on. We actually chose to write our own physics system from the ground up. We felt that snooker is such a precise sport, and physics is such an important part of it, that we wanted full control of that system ourselves, and to know exactly what was going on with physics at all times. That's paid off for us really well, I think. And our physics, we had Sean Murphy in, who's one of the top 16 players in the world. He came in to visit us a couple of months ago now and played the game with us, and he was blown away by the accuracy of our physics. As I start to do clever things like apply side and adjust the cue elevation, you can see the trajectory of the cue ball is changing a huge amount. He was amazed by how accurately we'd managed to model that, and the very subtle touches where the cue ball kicks out before going in the opposite direction, all these clever things. He was actually saying it's so accurate that we should be offering it as a training aid to coaches for real players. Yeah, and he was serious about it as well. So yeah, that was the best validation we could have ever hoped for. Really. Right, so I've been knocking a few balls in and missing a few balls as well, but I'm going to get you to play a few shots if we're all right. So I'm going to jump back to the front end briefly. I think because the EGX build, we built it so that it's only one controller. So I am going to be passing you the pad probably. It was easier to do that on the show floor.
Good old Ronnie O'Sullivan there.
Indeed. So we have 3 modes of snooker in snooker. So we've got regular snooker with 15 reds, like you just saw. We also have a 6 red snooker, which is a variant of the sport that I think came out of Thailand and is much faster. Of course, it being only 6 reds, if one player misses, then chances are the other one just goes on to clear up and win. So we've also got a mode that's timed, where each player has only 30 seconds to take their shot. Those are the basics of the snooker part. Sorry, let me just set this up.
Amateur.
Okay.
I think Mark Selby is anything but an amateur.
We have a bunch of difficulties, and that affects the way the aiming aid is displayed, from amateur, which is the easiest, through to no aiming aid at all, where you literally have to eye up the whole thing.
Oh, really?
I've tried that one. It is too hard for me even right now. We weren't going to include that mode, but players had been requesting it. Some of them are real masochists, So yes, I'll play on Master Aiming Aid, and you'll see that it makes it quite a bit harder, but it provides a nice handicap for us to play between ourselves. So what I'm going to do is just initially I'm going to break up the reds for you, so that hopefully you can get some reds to pot. All right, I'll take you through the controls.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, your cable's a little on the short side. So the left stick is going to be your aiming, left and right.
Oh, yeah.
To fine-tune your aiming, you would hold in the left trigger button. So once you've got, that looks good. So let's hold in the left trigger, and then you can just left trigger, not right trigger.
Oh, yeah.
Left and right.
I see. Yeah.
That gives you much finer tuning over the angle. I'm just going to click this one, which will reset your spin to center. I think you need to aim a little. Yeah, there's good. So then the right stick up and down is going to adjust the power. You don't particularly need to adjust the power right now.
Oh, I see, yeah.
We've got 3 phases to our shot. So the first one is the TV camera. If you push the A button, then we're going to go into the Q camera. Mm-hmm. You're already pretty well lined up, so I wouldn't change anything there. You're going to press A again, which goes to the action cam. Everything's locked in now, and you're ready to take a shot. When you're ready, you're going to pull back on the right stick, and when it gets into the blue zone, ideally at the center where it says 50% there, you're going to push forwards, just like you would with real Q in real life. It's a beauty. It's beauty.
I'm a pro.
Indeed.
I am playing on amateur. What are the aids that it's giving me here to help?
What you'll see, I'll show you the key differences. So the first part is the orange line is the object ball line. On amateur aiming aid, that is longer. It also won't fan out as quickly when you start to hit the ball less directly. The white line is the runoff of the white after it's hit the object ball. So you've got a nice long, both aiming aids are very long, and they're also quite precise. So even though you're playing at quite an angle here, you've got a nice long aiming aid going almost all the way to the pocket there.
That's what I like.
Yep. So let's move one camera forwards. And just fine tune if you need to a little bit. I think you're right there.
Yeah.
And into action and take your shot. So I won't disturb you while you're taking a shot. Though I think it's probably bad sportsmanship in real snooker to talk to people while they're actually trying to execute their shot. So what you'll see if you ever actually let me have another shot, which I'm hoping you're not going to. Then on my aiming aid, I get no object ball runoff at all, and the fan and distance of the object ball, the direction it's going in, will be much more. It needs you to interpret where the ball's going a little bit more.
Right. Oh no, I was a little underpowered. That's fine.
Do you know, you're already doing better than most of the interviewers that I work with today.
You're just
no,
saying
I'm not even joking.
I've got to do it because there are people watching. I don't look like an idiot.
I know exactly what you mean. But no, you're doing well here.
Oh, what would I go for next?
What are we on? We're on a colour. So let's knock the black into the corner. So the black's worth 7 points. It's the most valuable colour out of all of them. As you're in a nice position to take it here. So in addition to the standard offline modes that we've got here, of course we've got career where you play through all 28 of the official World Snooker tournaments. We've got online mode, so a basic quick match where you get matched against people of reasonably even difficulty to you. I think the online mode I'm most excited about, we've got a tournament mode where our tournaments are going to run at the same time as the real world tournaments. So in 2 weeks, just over 2 weeks, the World Championship starts in the real world up in Sheffield, and that runs for a couple of weeks. Our tournament will run at the same time, so we'll have our World Championships in the game at the same time, and you play against each other, players on the leaderboard, and at the end of the 2 weeks, the real World Championships, our game finishes. Our tournament finishes. You're doing beautifully here. Our tournament finishes at the same time, and then we reward people with cosmetics based on their performance during that tournament. So you get a nice new bow tie.
Oh, okay.
I like that. Or whatever it might be, waistcoats and trousers and all of those. Cool
but
things.
That's what I like. I think the kind of the things you associate with snooker, the world of snooker, it's got a slightly different vibe to it than some other sports. It's kind of you know what I mean. It has a
we talked a lot about whether we could have like a fiery queue and all of those cool things that you do in games, but it doesn't particularly feel like an authentic snooker game if things are on fire. And I'm sure World Snooker would support us whatever we want to do. We've got such a great relationship with those guys, but fiery balls and explosions and stuff, I don't know, that might be a step too far. This is a tough shot.
I don't think this is going to work, but let's have a look. This could be the end of my amazing winning streak.
Oh
well. That would have been. I think that would have been a bit of a cheesy if I'd successfully got that in.
Okay, let me knock a few balls in. So you can see on my screen, I can't see where the white's going to go after it hits an object ball. Yeah. And the cone effect that's applied, the fanning out of the aiming aid, is much more prevalent, and also the distance. I can't see very far. I have to figure out where it's going largely. Fortunately, you've left me a pretty simple start here, I think. So not knowing where the white's going to go, I'm going to just push through a little bit and probably try and play the blue into the top corner pocket. That's my idea. Whether it works or not, I've gone too far. I might have even gone into the pocket here. Oh, that's disastrous.
That's all right. I know.
Do you know what? I'll pretend it's deliberate because I wanted to get you back into the game.
Yeah. Should use this to my advantage.
So You're trying to pot a red, obviously, but none of those are particularly easy. You could have actually forced me back in. That was the option that it gave you, that it popped up with there. When somebody fouls, you generally have 2 options that way at least. If they actually foul by missing the pot, then you can force a retake.
That's probably unwise, right?
You could definitely. I'd take it on, because what's the worst that could happen? You could miss, and then I could pot all the balls. But that's not going to happen based on my performance so far.
Oh, I think that was sort of it. That felt slightly inevitable.
So we're just finishing up Snooker at the moment, and we've got most of the versions through submission.
And what platforms are you coming to?
So we're on on the 17th of April. We're on PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. Switch versions following slightly behind, and will be still out this spring. Xbox, PlayStation, all available for pre-order right now.
Awesome. And if people want to follow you, follow the game, can they find you on Twitter and the like?
They can. We're Snooker 19 Game Twitter on Twitter. I believe it's displayed on the screen right now.
Awesome. Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for coming and talking us through Snooker 19. You made a reasonable snooker player of me, which feels like a minor miracle.
I was very impressed.
Yeah, we can all do it with the magic lines. I did win a pool tournament when I was in college one time, but
Amazing.
I was partnered up with a bus driver who was like amazing. Yes. I don't know why I told you that. But anyway, thank you so much for joining us. And please do join us for our next stream. We are looking at Ember in about 10 minutes' time. So please join us then. Thank you, and bye for now.
Thanks, guys.